Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we have the deck profile for the deck we brought to Locals last week, being Armed Dragon. We didn't have an official tournament, we just played casual games. We had 1 win, 1 loss. We played 2 separate matches against Dark Magician. We took the first one, lost the second one, unfortunately, but all in all, it was still pretty good. The deck did alright. And, yeah, so let's get a look at what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters. We have 2 copies of your main boss, Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. So this guy, when he's special summoned by the effect of an Armed Dragon monster, gains various effects based on his attack value. So just as soon as you summon him, he already can't be destroyed by battle. He can't be stolen. And then you get a quick effect, send a card from hand to grave to pop a card on the field and gain 1,000 attack. That's largely all that you're going to have. I mean, if you can get it to the 10,000 where you can just nuke the entire field, then that's cool. But normally you're not going to get that far. Like, honestly, you should probably have already ended the game by that point. But yeah, really cool boss monster. Love the artwork of these armed dragons. So yeah. Next, 3 copies of Pile Armed Dragon. So basically, you can send another Wind Dragon monster or a level 7 or higher dragon from hand to grave to special summon it. Then you can send an Armed Dragon monster from hand or deck to grave to target a face-up monster you control. And then that gains attack equal to the sent monster's level times 300 till the end of the turn. When you use this, only 1 monster you control can attack. So basically, the Armed Dragon Thunders have effects that trigger when they're sent from the hand or field to grave to activate another dragon monster's effect. So this will proc any of those effects, in addition to an attack boost. Next, Armed Dragon Thunder level 7. So this one, basically, well, this and all of the other levels, so like 5 and 3, they all become the original names. But basically, and they all also share the effect where you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, or excuse me, send a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then send this card from field to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon a level 10 or lower Armed Dragon monster from your hand or deck. Or, well, level 10 or lower is this one. So basically, you send this one to get the 10. You send the 5 to get 7. You send the 3 to get 5. That was probably a bad way of explaining it, but I think you get the point. So basically, you send a monster from your hand to the grave. Send the current monster to the grave to level up. Okay, and then when this is sent to the grave to activate a dragon monster's effect, you can add an Armed Dragon card from your deck to your hand. Level 5, basically you send this to get 7, and when you send this to grave to activate another dragon monster's effect, you get to search a level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster. For level 3, you would obviously send this to get 5. When this is sent to activate another dragon monster's effect, you can draw a card. Next, for our more auxiliary monsters, running 2 copies of Knight Armed Dragon, the Armored Knight Dragon. So basically, when this is sent to the graveyard, you can target a you can give one of your other dragon monsters 1,000 attack. So basically, the idea with this guy is, so you have him in the field, him on the field, and this in hand. You activate his effect, sending this, and then he pops and gains 1,000 attack, and then this will give him another 1,000 attack. So you're basically just making one giant bungus. Next, 2 kinds of Armed Dragon. The Armored Dragon. This one is there just as an extra body that we can pitch in order to get our effects. Although it does have an effect where if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon a level 5 or lower Wind Dragon monster from your hand or deck, but cannot attack directly. So it does have some use besides just being discard fodder, but it's mainly for discard fodder. Finally, rounding out the monsters, 2 copies of Armed Dragon level 10 White. So basically, while this is in your hand, you can banish Armed Dragon monsters from your field and or graveyard, whose total levels equal 10, to special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, you can add a White Veil from your deck to your hand. And we'll get to White Veil here in a minute. And then he has a continuous effect that says you don't take any effect damage. That will make sense when we cover White Veil. And then at the start of the damage step, if he attacks, you can destroy a card on the field. So just another way to get a big body. He also does serve as some removal. So yeah, really nice there. Next is the aforementioned White Veil. So you equip it to a monster, right? When it battles, your opponent can't activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step. Okay? And this includes face-up spell and trap cards. Okay, so they can't even activate the effects of their face-up spells or traps either. When the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you literally get Harpy's Feather Duster. Now, of course, that's pretty good, right? When this face-up card in a player's spell and trap zone leaves the field, that player takes 3,000 damage. However, no effect damage. So that kind of mitigates that cost there. Okay, moving on, we have 3 copies of Armed Dragon Flash. This is basically emergency teleport for Armed Dragon level 3. That's basically all it is. Or excuse me, Armed Dragon Thunder level 3. Next, 2 copies of Armed Dragon Lightning. So basically, it serves 2 main purposes. If an Armed Dragon monster or monsters you control be destroyed by a card effect, you can send this from the field to the grave instead. And then you can target an Armed Dragon monster you control and do one of 2 things. You can either have it gain attack equal to its level times 100 permanently, or the thing I usually do is I can add an Armed Dragon monster with equal or lower level than it from my graveyard to the hand. So this is a way to kind of refuel your hand so you can keep going. Or if you want something for next turn to send with Thunder level 10's pop effect, now you have fuel for that. Next, 3 copies of Dragon Shrine. It's a foolish burial for dragons. Enough said. Next, Return of the Dragon Lords. It is a monster reborn for level 7 or 8 dragon monsters. And we just so happen to have a couple level 7 dragon monsters in the deck. Who would have thought? And then you can banish it to protect. 1 terraforming, search field spell. Field spell being 3 copies of Summon Breaker. I wanted to pivot to more of a control strategy with this deck rather than like an OTK / dragon pile thing. I wanted to go with more of an Armed Dragon control. And so Summon Breaker, it limits your opponent's summons during main phase 1. Next, 1 Pot of Avarice. This is just to help get some of your monsters back. Kind of recover some of those resources. Moving on to the trap cards. 1 Armed Dragon Thunderbolt. So basically, if you target level 10, it gains 1,000 attack for every Armed Dragon monster in your graveyard with an equal or lower level than level 10, and with different names from each other. Unfortunately, your opponent doesn't take any battle damage during that turn, but if you use it during your opponent's turn, then it doesn't really matter that much. And then you can banish this from your grave to target an Armed Dragon spell in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And then finally, rounding out the deck, 1 Rivalry and 1 Gozen. So again, like I said, I wanted to pivot to more of a control style of deck with this. So basically making it Armed Dragon control. So with these 3, just, trying to hold off your opponent as much as you can, just so you can basically just beat them to death with level 10. It's basically what that is. I mean, it's really fun. It is. It's really fun. So, and the deck did all right, So, I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, it's a fun deck, and that's all it's meant for, is just for casual play. It's just for fun. So, yeah. Like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.